Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's a beautiful day in Washington, D.C., notwithstanding the lunatics that are surrounding us and trying to shut down women's speech. It's great to be here. I just want to say a few things. I know a lot of women want to speak. Probably between the 3 points that I want to make here, I will manage to piss off just about everyone. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay to disagree with each other. The movement to protect the sex-based rights of women and girls is a big 10, and there's room for a lot of us, even if we have points of disagreement. We can do this. 1, a woman is an adult human female, and those of us who are committed to fighting for the sex-based rights of women and girls will never, ever stop saying that. They can do whatever they like to us. They can attack us, arrest us, and lock us up. Those of us in this fight will never stop saying what we know to be true. So-called gender identity is a lie that has no basis in material reality. I'm very happy to report that last week, a panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit entered an extremely important ruling in the case of Green v. Miss USA. In that ruling, the Ninth Circuit found that a beauty pageant that was open exclusively to natural-born females has a First Amendment free speech right to exclude men. And the panel did not hold back in its language, which, I might add, is very turfy. One of the things that is so great about this is that one of the opinions cited a friend of the court brief that had been filed by the Women's Liberation Front. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first time that a radical feminist brief has been cited in a court opinion on the topic of so-called gender identity. This is a massive victory for women and girls, and we need to celebrate it. I want to pause here to note that the U.S. Park Police is here and are doing nothing to stop this. 2, most people know that I'm a leftist radical feminist, also known as a TERF, and that I have in the past made strategic alliances with some conservative individuals and organizations that are tapped into the U.S. political scene and who know how to get things done. I have no regrets about any of that. It's effective political advocacy, and men do it all the time. I am also happy to know plenty of rank-and-file Republicans, probably many of the people here today, who are committed to defeating so-called gender identity. I should note quickly that the conservative individuals and organizations that I have worked with generally do a good job of acknowledging the contributions of radical feminists to this movement, unlike certain other conservative individuals and organizations who I won't name. Having said all of that, there are certain elements of society with whom I want nothing to do at all. If anyone here is a neo-Nazi, I do not want them in this fight. If anyone here is a member of the Proud Boys, I do not want them in this fight. I could list more, but you all get the point. Finally, I know that Kelly J does not wish to impose any conditions on the women or men who attend her events, and that is totally her right to do. Speaking solely for myself, I am committed to the principles and practices of nonviolent direct action, and I am so for a reason. I understand that women all over the world are subjected to horrific violence at the hands of men, and that we have a completely understandable urge to fight back physically. I get it. I just want to emphasize that in my view, the reason to engage in nonviolent direct action is not to be nice, and it is not to be morally right. The reason is to be effective. There are things that are more important than physical safety, and one of them is winning, and we will win together. Thank you. Who wants to talk?
I'm going to be short anyway. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, sexism on display. Sexism on display. Telling us to shut up, telling women to shut up forever. Forever. You can't identify your way out of sexism. You can't fight for women's rights if you can't say what a woman is. Let women speak! Again, let women speak!
Okay, I don't know where Kelly J is, so I'll just go on and on until she gets back. Okay, so as people may know, my name is Kara Dansky. I'm the author of the 2021 book, The Abolition of Sex, How the So-Called Transgender Agenda Harms Women and Girls. I'm also the current president of the U.S. chapter of Women's Declaration International, which works to advance the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights throughout law all over the world at all levels of government. You can find it, you can read it. If you agree with it, you can sign it at www.womensdeclaration.com. Article 1 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights holds that women is an exclusively female category. Article 2 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights insists that mother remain an exclusively female category throughout law. Article 3 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights provides that women must have unlimited access to reproductive integrity. Article 4 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights holds that women must be free to their expression and opinion. Article 5 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights states that women must be free to assemble. Article 6 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights addresses the importance of women in political participation. Article 7 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights holds that women's sports must be reserved for women only. Article 8 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights demands an end to male violence against women. Article 9 of the Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights protects the rights of the child against the harms caused to children's bodies by hormones and surgeries that mutilate and sterilize them. Who else wants to talk? Come on. Okay, just real quick, since I already spoke, I just want to convey a few messages about what the tone has been like out here and amend something I said earlier. There have been a ton of tourists here at the Lincoln Memorial today on this beautiful, beautiful day. And they saw what happened. They saw these people scream and chant and try to shout us down. I said earlier that the park police were here and were doing nothing. Then they did. I want to just make a point for women having future events like this. In the application process for the permit, there was a question, which was, do you anticipate any disruption of your event? I answered that question, yes. And I had an interview with the permit people, and they asked me to explain it. And I did my best to do that. But the problem is, at that time, the park police didn't take this threat seriously because they didn't understand. They didn't know. Law enforcement generally does not understand what threats women are under all over the world, especially in the United States, but they're starting to. And so for women who are having future events of this nature, please do your best to make sure your local law enforcement or federal, as applies here, this is the U.S. Park Police, make sure they understand the level of threat. Show them video of previous events. And I do just also really want to commend the U.S. Park Police for really standing up and protecting women and girls here today. So thanks, everyone. Who else?
They're resisting. Okay. My turn?
No. Just so everyone knows, it appears that the lunatics who despise us resisted against the park police. The U.S. Park Police are chasing them out of the grounds. They're literally on foot. The park police are chasing the lunatics off the grounds of the Lincoln Memorial. This is just stunning. Okay, Jen.